Well, good Monday evening, Living Water Church. I'm going to go right into the announcements first. And guys, I think from now on, actually, I'm going to just cycle the announcements first in these videos. And then if you're able to, hang out and I'll share just a quick devotional with these that usually ties into the message. But I want to get the announcements out first. So if you guys get in the habit of watching these Monday Motion videos, at least you'll be able to tune in really briefly in the first minute or two of these videos, grab the announcements for the upcoming week, so that way you don't miss anything that's going on. So this upcoming Saturday, guys, we have the Living Water Church men's softball game. It's just a fun game just to hang out and enjoy the day together, fellowship, just a lighthearted game, playing together. So we do need an RSVP for that event. We're going to provide lunch there, but also we just need to know how many people are showing up. So you can sign up right in the link here. Just quick, just pop your name in and how many people you're going to bring. But we do need signups by this upcoming Wednesday. So 2 days from now is the deadline for signing up for this event. So if you can come to that event this upcoming Saturday, sign up in the link in the description. The next thing that I have is the 2 weeks from now. So not this upcoming Sunday, but the following Sunday, we're having a wedding here for the second service at the church. At the end of the second service, we're going to have a wedding for Joanne and Ivan. So really excited about that. And just a reminder, everyone is invited to stay after. Instead of going over to meet me at the park, we're going to set up really quickly here at the church, and we're going to have a reception here at the church. The entire church is invited out to that to celebrate Joanne and Ivan's day and the marriage that we're going to have here at the church. So there's no RSVP or sign up, but if you want to attend the wedding part of the message, come out to the second service that Sunday, and then feel free to stay after and fellowship with the body and celebrate Joanne and Ivan. Guys, the next thing that I have is that Rich McDonald, if you don't know, he actually heads up the Love Inc. furniture drop-off. So that's Love in the Name of Christ. It's a local organization that helps people here in the community. And somebody can call in and request a furniture piece if they have a new apartment or if they can't afford furniture, those kind of things. And Rich McDonald sets up and handles coordinates all of that area for this Dutchess County region. And he is, and that organization is in need of people to help out with the deliveries of that furniture. So if you have the ability to help out with that furniture delivery, I'm going to put his email in the description below. You can email him directly, and I know they are in desperate need of some help to get some spots filled. I think as little as once a month that you could go and drop off some furniture to some local Poughkeepsie residents, as well as have an opportunity to maybe have a gospel conversation there with them while performing that action and just share the love of Christ with them through that. So if you can help in any way, you can contact Rich for more details or see him on Sunday here at church if you want more details about how to get involved with that. So guys, that's really what we have coming up for announcements. Just a reminder, this upcoming 2 weeks from now, while it is the fourth Sunday, I just want to remind you again, we are not meeting at the park. We are meeting here at the church to celebrate Joanne and Ivan's wedding, just so there's no confusion there. So, and then if there's anything else I missed, just check it out in the church calendar below for all the events that are going on here. And 2 weeks from now, we do have the apologetics class again here. The last Friday of every month, 6:30 here at the church is our apologetics class. So looking forward to that. So guys, we went through the book of Genesis really very, very quickly, the first 9 chapters as we talked about the creation and the fall and then the flood. And we went through that process. And then next week, we're actually jumping for Father's Day into, we're going to cover an entire book. And we're going to cover the life of one of God's righteous servants, and that's Job. And I'm really excited about that. One of my favorite characters in the Bible, Job, as he walks out a life that God calls righteous. And we know that righteousness comes through faith in him. So a man that served and followed God, but yet had great tragedies befall his life, and yet says a statement so profound and powerful to God: though you slay me, yet I will praise you. So really, really strong character that God had instilled into Job, and I'm excited to learn about his life as we continue in our Busting Out the Basics series, talking about the Bible stories that we grew up with maybe in our youth, or some really important Bible stories for us to know from the Old Testament. So we're going to be in Job for Father's Day, so you can get a little pre-game reading and go and read in the book of Job. So we're going to be there. But what we talked about yesterday in Genesis is we talked about the flood and how mankind had really been completely wicked at this point in time. When the flood strikes, it says that every intention and thought of the man's heart was evil, and God had chosen to have Noah erect an ark and then be saved, him and his family, as well as 2 of every animal on this earth. And we went through that story process and showed the validity of that story as it is in the Bible. Not that this is a story that is not true, a mythical or a fable, but a real life true event that happened, a historical event that we can be certain of. And then, in fact, I didn't get to share this, but every single continent has stories that have been found, ancient stories of the flood, and with some twisted details. But we can see that after the flood, as mankind is really together, and then we see the story of the Tower of Babel, and they're all together, and then God comes and confuses their language, and they disperse everywhere. Well, they take the story of the flood into everywhere that they are dispersed, because on every continent we have ancient flood stories of the flood of the entire earth, and many of them have a boat that has been built and the salvation, and even at the end, how a bird is sent out to look for dry land, and aspects of the story that are very similar like that. And just as in the game of telephone, they have got tainted and twisted over time, especially as those people have shied away from following God. A lot of other gods and events have crept into those stories as they've been tainted. And what we have preserved for us in Genesis is the real account of Noah's flood. And I love the end, and this is just what I want to share with you. Some powerful verse here where it says in Genesis chapter 8, verse 22, while the earth remains, this is God has given a promise with his rainbow in the sky that the earth will never be flooded again. But it continues on with an addition to that promise that sometimes we leave out. And he says, while the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease. And if we look at that list, it's really important to look at that list in its entirety. This is part of God's promise. Every time you look up and see a rainbow, yes, God is not going to flood the entire earth again. That's a promise of his. But the promise actually continues here in verse 22. While the earth remains. Okay, so the promise is only until such time as Jesus comes back in his second coming for the judgment. And we actually see in Revelation that the earth is completely destroyed, that the earth and the heavens pass away and God destroys them, and then a new heaven and a new earth is formed, and that is where we are going to spend eternity reigning with Christ. But it says until that happens, until such time as that happens, this list, seed time and harvest. Okay, so there's going to be planting and there's going to be times of harvest. Cold and heat. There's going to be times of hot and times of cold. Summer and winter. Summer and winter. Makes clarification. Day and night. They shall not cease. So while we need to, guys, protect and take care of the creation and nature that's all around us that God has given to us, and we're told to be good stewards of that. In fact, there are some people that are so concerned and their minds are wrapped into worrying about tomorrow. And the Bible says tomorrow will take care of itself. Tomorrow has its own trouble. Sufficient for today are its own worries. Well, guess what? We don't have to be concerned about tomorrow because God has taken care of tomorrow. And therefore, those of us that are so worried that something is going to happen to this planet, or global warming, or the ice caps are going to melt and things are going to be flooded, and all this worry. Well, the Bible says in a promise that until such time as the earth is destroyed, there will be planting and there will be harvesting. There will be cold and there will be hot. There will be summer and there will be winter. And what that promise is a continuation of the I will not flood the earth promise. And therefore, I can trust that it is true. I can trust that God has made provision in that. So while we need to be a good steward of all that God has given to us, including this planet, and treat it with respect because it is God's creation, in fact, there is nothing that humankind can do to speed up the process of this planet being destroyed prematurely. It's not possible because God promises in his word that all of those things will remain until he comes again. So therefore, what we can trust in is that God's sovereign hand is on us and on this planet and on this world and on our future. And what God has wrought, what God has promised, will come to be. I know that because he is sovereign and he is in complete and utter control. So therefore, when I look into the future, the only thing I need to understand about my future is this, that God has won the victory, that I will one day stand in his presence, reigning in glory for all of eternity, not because of anything I've done, all because of what he's done in my life. He's already won the victory. The game's done. And all I'm doing is playing it out. I already know the end game. I already know what's going to happen. It's like playing a game of chess, and I know with certainty I'm going to win, but yet I still have to move those pieces. Well, that's what I'm doing here, living my life. I am moving as the King commands me to move. I am performing the service that the King commands me to perform, and I am trying to lead a life of holiness because I am serving a holy, holy, holy God. And therefore, I will walk out this life knowing what the end game is, knowing what the victory is, knowing that he has my eternity, knowing that he has my future. And therefore I have such great peace knowing that I serve the King. And that's why Romans 8 said, if God is for us, who can be against us? And that's what I trust today, and I hope that you trust the same thing. As long as this earth remains, God has it firmly and established in his grasp, and he will not fail us because he has promised it in his word. We see that every time we see a rainbow. What a promise. So that's the message in Genesis, guys. Looking forward to Sunday when we go into one of God's great servants in Job, and we celebrate also fathers and the gift that God has given us in them. So looking forward to seeing you Sunday. I pray you guys have a blessed week, and I'll see you then. Love you.